I just completed New York City Go Fest 2024 on my Shinies only profile, and here is every single shiny I caught during the event. I was able to get a train up to New York late on Friday, so I was only able to play for maybe an hour or two on Friday. In that time, I was able to get the shiny Beldum, a shiny Phantom, and then this shiny Trico while in the hotel room. I don't have any specific goals for this event, I just want to get as many shinies as possible, so during the global event, I have less work to do. Day 2 started off crazy with a shiny Houndoom, the only Houndoom I saw all event, and then even crazier with a shiny Necrozma on the third raid I did on the profile. I had heard horror stories from people who attended the Go Fest in Sendai and had done 40, 50, 60 raids without a single shiny Necrozma, so I was super nervous, but I was able to get this shiny very early on, which made me really happy. Obviously, the IVs are pretty bad, but we're going to hopefully be able to continue to get more shiny luck with Necrozma raids. I had the afternoon park experience on Saturday, so during the morning and up until 3 o'clock, I was just walking all around New York City, trying to find as many shinies as possible and doing as many raids as possible. This Wild Oshawott really caught me off guard with some insane IVs, and then really like this shiny Mantine. I really like the deep blue that it has. Speaking of deep blue though, we got ourselves our second shiny Necrozma just a few raids later. Unfortunately, the IVs on this guy are going to be pretty low again. However, a second shiny Necrozma, if we can keep the shiny luck rolling throughout the whole event, I am going to do great. Moving back into some more wild spawns, we got a shiny Tyrunt, one Pokemon that I really was hoping to get. I wasn't able to get Tyrunt or Pancham from the eggs, so those are both ones that I really want. There's a nice shiny Oranguru, love the pink, and then a shiny Rufflet. At this point, I had been catching some Pokemon out of the wild for a long time, and there it is. Shiny Necrozma number 3. The combat power is much, much higher on this one. I decided that I wasn't going to check online what the 100% IV combat power was for Necrozma, just because I wanted it to be a surprise, and this was by far the best one I'd caught so far. It ended up being 15, 12, 15, which I was super excited about. In hindsight, though, I did get my hopes up a little, thinking that it might be a Shundo. We followed up that Necrozma raid with not one shiny Drillbur, but 2 shiny Drillburs in a row, and then, of course, another shiny Necrozma. These Necrozma raids were going absolutely insane. This was raid number 13, and we already had 4 shinies. However, none of the other Ultra Beast raids had given us a shiny yet, so the luck was kind of evening out, but definitely still on our side. It was about 2 o'clock at this point, and the park experience started at 3, so I decided to catch a few more shiny Pokemon on my way over to Randall's Island before we could start the main attraction of the event. The last Pokemon we were able to catch before getting on the island was this shiny Pancham, one that I said I wanted earlier. Then the first Pokemon I caught on the island was a shiny Unknown N. I didn't really care which letter I got, I just wanted at least one shiny Unknown. This Pikachu right here is a very nice start to the Moon and Sun Crown collections. Between Go Fest New York and Go Fest Global, I want to have both shiny Pikachus and both shiny Eevees. Around now is when I realized there was one Pokemon that I really was going to need the shiny variant for on my Shinies only profile during this event. You see, on this profile, in order to evolve, battle, or do anything with a Pokemon, it has to be shiny, which means the quest that required me to change a Furfro's trim, that Furfro needed to be shiny. With how many shinies I was able to catch throughout the entire event, I wasn't thinking that this was going to be too much of a challenge, but it did end up proving to be quite difficult, as you'll see at the end of the video. Huge shout out to JT Gilly, who I met at the meetup event at the park. He's a super cool guy, and he thinks that every single one of you should subscribe. I decided to regroup and do a bunch of raids where I got my first shiny Ultra Beast not named Necrozma, and it was a shiny Buzzwole. I then decided that if I was going to get that Furfro, I needed to act fast, and I decided to stay in the portion of the park where they were most spawning. Basically, the entire second half of the event, which was 5 to 7, was me walking laps around that section of the park trying to get a shiny Furfro. Don't get me wrong, I was super stoked to be able to get that shiny Golett, another shiny Phantom, and even right here, a second shiny Unknown. But every time that Furfro didn't shine, I became more and more anxious that I wasn't going to be able to complete the research. A major positive from all those laps is this shiny Moon Crown Pikachu, meaning I have now both the Sun and Moon Crowns. At this point, I didn't have either of the shiny Eevees, but I knew I'd be able to work on that during the global event as well. Unfortunately for my Furfro hunt, this Skarmory ended off day 2. Luckily for me though, I woke up on Sunday morning to this shiny Guzzlord. I knew that my train was leaving at 12:24 and I was willing to give every last second in order to get that shiny Furfrou. I was up at 7 o'clock, so I was able to get all of the raids that I wanted to get done for the day out of the way, including this shiny Guzzlord, which meant the rest of the day was all wild spawns. We started off the day with the shiny Mantine, but you know what we're looking for. We're looking for that shiny Furfrou. This challenge is one of the many challenges that people would never think of when you do something like having a Shinies only profile. So every one of these Shinies, although I got a third shiny Drillbur and a second shiny Pancham, I was just waiting for that one Pokemon. And right as it hit 12 o'clock in New York City, I got myself a shiny Furfrou. I had such insane luck during the entire event, especially with the Necrozma raids, but there was just this one thing hanging over my head that I was finally able to get out of the way. I was so excited I forgot to record the IVs, but there is the trim I put on it. Then as I was boarding the train, I was able to get this shiny Sun Crown Eevee as one last goodbye to New York City. If you were in New York City for this event, let me know how you did, and if you would like and subscribe, it would mean the world to me.